Very, very warm. Good evening. This is Arunava Chaudhuri. You are live on my YouTube channel, Arun Foot. It's another Indian football and more discussion on the channel after a long weekend of ISL football. Football in the Indian Football League. The Indian under 17 women's team have arrived in China ahead of the competition at the continental level and all other things which are happening in Indian football. We'll speak about those and other things. And at the start, of course, as I always like to say, if you like the conversations we have here on Arun Foot, do leave a like behind, share it with other people. And of course, if you haven't, do please subscribe to the channel as we stand at 4,284 subscriptions as I start this live. And watch my short videos, which I try and do on a regular basis. Something earlier today, in regard to reviewing match week 10 and looking at the other things as well. Did something on the SAF Women's Championship and earlier also. So do watch the short videos and thank you for your support. Ashish, thanks. Overall, okay. Again, and my allergies are still there, so therefore that's always still a problem. But otherwise, I'm doing okay and good. Is Ortiz and Paredes available against East Bengal on 5th of May? Um, Looks likely. Pereira Diaz, yes. Ortiz, I think one will have to wait and see. So therefore, again, they've got some time now. Mumbai City have had a few matches, and so therefore, let's wait and see if they would be back on that date. Ashish says, Proful Sir se bolo fir election. Ashish, who am I to tell Prabhu Patel regarding an AIFF election or not? To be very honest, I think then you're overestimating me and my potential influence on these kind of things. So therefore, yeah, that's the reality. Your take on your opinion on Ravi Pushkar's take. Well, I tweeted out what I thought about it. On one side, very valid point from him that the primary product is what's happening on the pitch. But again, I also see, that who is willing, these are things that we've discussed on this channel a lot over the last few years. So, for me, the biggest problem in saying, you know what, let's focus on the football first, that's a nice thing to do. Who's going to do that? So the problem is on this matter in the way that Ravi is trying to say and focus on saying, listen, let's focus on the talent, let's develop that. I think that 95, 97%, um, you know, um, uh, it's a problem. So therefore, for me, I think that you have to have development, as I say, work on grassroots, on youth football, on the coaching. Most important of everything at the moment is coaching. Have the right competitions, have matches. And then on top of that, ensure the scouting. If you can take care of those things, then we can talk about everything else on top of that to build Indian football, right? Otherwise, it's no point. And the point of that, you want to use technology to enhance the product which is there at the top level. Again, bad examples in that way because the product already was better than what Indian football is. But the same evolutions, the same sort of revolutions have happened in the Premier League, have happened in the Bundesliga, have happened in La Liga over decades elsewhere in the world. Even the ISL was a revolution per se for Indian football in regard to media production and what came about. How is the experience of a match day and other things. And therefore, from my standpoint, Ravi has a point. But if he, I think this is a topic that he should raise in the if there is one day an ISL board amongst the ISL clubs, because Mr. Goenka will tell him, or the representative of Mohan Supergiant will say, you know what, we don't care about youth development, we don't care about grassroots, we care about winning ISL. because Mohun Supergiant is a very good example, is cares about winning trophies. East Bengal theoretically cares about winning trophies, but are they winning trophy again? But, you know, so these kind of things is to mention that, and therefore that's the problem in the system. I said that, good to say what Ravi said on one side, but on the other side, to me, it's yeah, to me, it just doesn't add up to where we are and where we want and where we need to be. And that's the challenge for Indian football. How do we get to where we want to? Where do we need to be? And that is something, a lot of unanswered questions at different levels. Any update on FIFA World Cup broadcaster? Orithro, nothing at all being said at the moment. A lot of people have said a lot of things, but at the moment, no decision on that as such. At what time does ISL matches start from your place? Uh, in the winter, where we have 4.5 hours of time difference, it was 12:30 and 3 p.m. Right now in the summer window, in which, or summer time as we call it, is a 3.5 hour time difference. So it starts at 1:30 and 4 p.m. kickoff times as such. Is it true that U17 Asian Cup group stage can't be watched live? RSC game, I saw something today somewhere on social media. I am not aware of that. Normally, the AFC has those kind of things covered via their own platforms. So I'm not sure um, if that is going to be the case or not. But normally, um, normally it should be shown on the AFC channels or YouTube of AFC. How can we talk about football when this is the case? A club is formed with all money, but will get disbanded after getting relegated. I've seen more clubs disbanding than seeing new clubs emerge. So, Joel, uh, um, you know, um, there are two things which you need to think about, look at when we talk about money. Yeah, uh, uh, um, so for me, I think the biggest challenge within our system is that clubs are spending money, and that is linked to what Ravi said, right? Again, the spending, so to say, why would someone spend at the bottom if you're not making money at the top, so to say, right? That's sort of the case study. My question simply to clubs would also be is like, if you have 1 rupee to spend, why are you spending five, right? Uh, uh, you know, um, so therefore, you know, so therefore, for me, and then you're in the situation of how can you keep the system running? The clubs cannot come to a consensus and say, you know what, we will create a model under which we all do not overspend. Can you, as clubs, jointly create a model independently of the league to say we're not overspending, that you can, and then, yeah, relegation is it's there, death into, um, let's wait and see what happens. North Korea pulled out, or they're still in the competition. If was the fixtures, the session in the match in North Korea on 13th. Why would North Korea pull out, Mehul? Yeah, don't know. Do you think East Bengal is on the right track in the long term? No. Onumithro, East Bengal is not on the right track. East Bengal is desperate to win the Indian Super League. East Bengal is willing to try and win its way to it, not do it systematically. And if you now see some of this stuff, and let's say Oscar, with all due respect, some of the stuff that Oscar said, I find very damning. Sort of the system is at fault, everybody's at fault, I am not at fault. Which I find very dangerous as a way to sort of amplify those things. And to me, um, you know as long as East Bengal doesn't build a sort of a sporting hierarchy which is independent of um, with the right people on board, then it will not, and let's wait and see. Sir, can we just adjust ISL into two round where second round is played as championship relegation round, which will make ISL more interesting and competitive? Zigzag. I am honestly not that big a fan of that. I would rather continue with the ISL playoff models because that playoff is really what makes the ISL interesting at the top level. So if you ask me, I would prefer having an ISL with yeah mm, with a um, with the whole home and away season with 14 teams and 26 matches, and after those 26 matches have playoffs, and and through that um, decide the champion of the league. Maybe you can have a um, top 10 playoffs, let's say, and and on the other side, maybe the bottom four play out a relegation. So I don't know what that's something which one needs to look at logistics and other things. But again, that would be a situation. In a hypothetical scenario, if Fukushi wins this season and gets an Asian spot, will they be able to roll out a more man Super level team given that I still happen next season and will participate? No. I mean, Hannibal, just to think about this hypothetical scenario is unrealistic because Jamshedpur FC will not be spending like Mormagan Supergiant. So therefore, your hypothetical scenario is dead before it's born, right? Because no one at Jamshedpur FC is willing to spend, and you know, um, so therefore for me that's it's a big challenge, and to me, um, I don't see them spending that much or wanting to spend that much. Also, first of all our clubs don't know where to spend money. They spend 90% of the money on the first team, not on any grassroots own facility and own stadium, etc. Zigzag on own facility and stadium is, of course, an own discussion, worth. It's very complex in an Indian scenario, in my opinion, because owning um, stadium, owning infrastructure is what you rarely see in an Indian context. Um, on the other side, yeah, they're not spending, as you say, on grassroots and on their youth. So forget 90% on the money on the first team, yeah, but most of that money is also going in salaries of players and coaches, right? It is not on club building per se also, right? So that's part of the problem that we have at the moment with the whole structure in the Indian Super League. What's going on in Interkashi? So, Interkashi is facing certain problems because, um, the club has, you know, moved from being an I League team to an ISL team. It has to fight its way through. Um, there's certain things that the club people are saying. There's certain things that are happening. Churchill Brothers is not giving up, so it seems to be like a never-ending case scenario for them, which I find very bizarre to say the least. That whole situation that persists around them, and of course there is something about you know I've not been able to figure out is there a salary problem at the club, or is it a problem that the club is thinking of, if these sort of court cases don't at some stage go away, that will just shut down the thing, right? So for me, um I'm not sure if the owners are saying, you know um we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens at Intakashi. But I am a little surprised because one thing I haven't understood is how can still someone go to court in India. Um, if I look at it at the moment, and uh, when the whole Inter Kashi versus Churchill, but this case has been decided by CAS. So that's one thing which I'm not understanding um, at the moment. That's one thing where I say, why is it the way it is? So therefore, yeah, some of the problems that we're facing at this moment in time. Rumors are floating that Mohamed Subhajan is going to sign Lanza Chante in next window is one person through because this will break my heart so hard. Hannibal, every window, no, every summer, Mohamed Supergiant has tried to sign Lalinzwala Chante. That's not new. That's not old. As far as I know, he still has a contract till 27 with Mumbai City. And I think it depends on what Mumbai City does in regard to for Changte to reside long term if he wants to stay with Mumbai City or he could move on to another team. Does he still have the dream of maybe playing abroad? Uh, you know, uh, let's see. Apart from Punjab FC is the one club in ISL who's on the right track long term. Anumitra, even Punjab FC, are they really on the right track? That is my honest. Go ahead, one second, just my nose, one sec. Sorry, my allergies. Um, Anumitra, I don't think any club in our system is on the right track. If you'd asked me a few years ago, I would have said, Bangalore FC look good because they built certain levels, Birari, um, infrastructure, built teams, invested in certain things. But again, it hasn't worked out. FC Goa looked to be good. Even Kerala Blasters looked to be better about 2-3 years back. Um, Punjab FC, all of it depends if Sunny is able to get the infrastructure being built. And that's going to be the. And are you taking care of the talent you're bringing through? Are you careful also that you are using players who are not overage? So this is something which is very, very clear to me that there are initiatives now in India which are working towards that, which are honestly working towards figuring out ways of getting players to play in the system who are at the right age. And so therefore, yeah, that's the problem. So, so therefore, that's a difficult one. Which team do you think will be the most competitive in Asia? I think BFC will be better in Asia. So, Joel, I don't see anyone will be competitive. Look at FC Goa this season in ACL two as an example. FC Goa is a top team. Yeah, at the time they had all their foreigners, and I don't know where you think how BFC could be competitive in Asia. BFC is not even good enough for the ISL after Rennie left, right? Mumbai City should have beaten them on Saturday, right? So I don't know how you see them being better in Asia, even if they're not even to be top four, top five in the ISL. I don't think anyone will be competitive. I don't see an Indian club being competitive. You have to have a lot of luck depending on who you play in the qualifiers and then potentially in the group stage. But if you get one of the biggies, as we've seen in the last few years, there's no chance. There is no chance of Indian teams being competitive against an Al Hilal or an Al Nasser or even the Iranians or the Uzbeks or whatever's thrown at us. We are not competitive. We have to accept that. Many pages of compared those Football Federation even changed the fixtures to only Indian Australia in U17 Asian Cup. If it's true or not, just a rumor. I don't know where. One second. Let me. So there's a rumor they could withdraw. Okay. There is an online rumor. Okay. There's a rumor going around. Uh, yeah. But nothing so far confirmed. Let me just check. Australia have announced their squad. Okay, according to today, Australia, they've okay, Football Australia, they have withdrawn from the tournament. Okay, so they're only three. Okay, well, interesting to see what happens then. Right? Just one sec. Sorry. Yeah. So well, nothing confirmed from the AFC. That's the final source for something like this. Um, just checking with someone in the AFC. Yeah. So therefore, let's see. Punjab aren't even trying to get a stadium at home. Yes, they have a good account, but no, it seems as they don't have no interest to create an ecosystem at the top. Who says that, Sujal? That's the funny one. You're saying they don't have an interest in trying to get a stadium at home. How are you making that statement? Would be my question to you. You know, and to me, um, I remember the first conversations we had at Round Glass Punjab when we started the whole thing was to build their own infrastructure in and around Chandigarh. So that is the main thing, that they are not going to go to Amritsar or Ludhiana. And then again, from an infrastructure perspective, it is for them easier to go to Delhi than to go to the um, northern sort of belt of Punjab. And for them, the challenge is how do you get it done? And it is out of own experience. Again, you think, oh, they're not doing this. It's not so easy. Again, as a fan, it is some of the stuff to say is very, very easy, right? But it's not so easy. Is Interkashi going to shut down? Hannibal, I think let's wait and see what happens. I think there is a fundamental distance between the AIFF and, and the clubs in regard to running of the future of the um, uh, ISL. I think there are certain, as I say again and again, certain teams who are pondering about the idea of maybe potentially shutting down their football teams. I think that's sadly a reality, a risk which is there. And then the other danger is what's going to happen again with the future, right? The way the AFF is running the whole thing is, I don't know what it is, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens on that front. Hi, not come for many days, but so long as so good, but busy with learning some good software skills, helping in marketing with a colleague and emerging Varanasi. Shanlata, I think that's your ID. Thank you for being back. Wikipedia says in your 7th page. Joseph, Wikipedia is not a source. If Wikipedia is your validation of an information, look for an alternative source, because Wikipedia to me is not a source to bank on. You and I could change information going in there and saying, "Hey, listen, it is different," rather than something else. So therefore, for me, do not use Wikipedia as your final source of some sort of information on that front, because that's yeah, it is not. Sorry, it is, if you like it or not, but that's, to me, it's not the ultimate source of info where you can go back and fall back on, because that does not work. So that's a reality. So therefore, under 17, we'll have to wait and see if it's true. North Korea out, which makes India's life even more difficult if it's that way. But we'll have to wait and see what happens on that front. Shanlata says, "Really sad to see my own club, Interkashi, struggling so much with so good coach. Maybe will not play next season. So massive growth in 2 years. No such things. Pray for the better of Kashi." You know, um, you know, um, the reality is that we are in this football ecosystem with these realities. Interkashi has grown exponentially over the last few years. They've gotten to a level which is highly respectable, to say the least. But the question is, what's the next step? What's the next stage? What's the next level that the club can attain, you know. And so therefore, for me, we'll have to wait and see what happens to Intakashi. Can something anything be done legally to shut Judge Brothers up? उन्होंने सारे पर कर दी है. I know theoretically yes, but who's going to do that? To me, the question is very simple. Someone needs to ask the question to the Delhi High Court: why are you entertaining these cases when there has been a final verdict by CAS, and there is nothing, um, no higher authority than CAS in the world of sports theoretically, right? So therefore, my question is, why is this still being entertained? And it shows the weakness of the AIFF, that the AIFF in these kind of cases is not actually going and shutting these down. Right? You need to shut the door of these entities being able to go to a normal court. And yeah, so and so therefore, let's wait and see what happens. Football Australia squad release officially mentioned North Korea has withdrawn with only 2 matches. Yes, Tejas, that's what I also said. So therefore, for me, at the moment, it's saying Australia is going to play India and Uzbekistan, both of them at the King Abdullah training pitches. And I'm just looking at the Australian squad. So Harrison Bond is playing at Red Bull Salzburg. That's one of the foreign-based players. The others are all, yeah, and Charlie Wilson Paps, a goalkeeper who's currently at Brighton and Hove Albion. So those two are the standout players, so to say. One in Austria with Red Bull Salzburg, and the other with the academy of Brighton Hove Albion. What's your take on India's 17 men's team chances to get past the group stage or a throw? If we are only playing those 2 matches against Australia and Uzbekistan, that sounds very tough, in my opinion. Right? Working with my colleague on here and some legal work environments will go to for business on tomorrow summit and before second of my birthday, but we'll try to attend as much as can. Okay, thanks. Sure. Hey Roshan, a lot of famous names rumored for Bangladesh men's national team coach job. Yeah, Roshan, again, Bangladesh see themselves now, be it the BFF or be it their fans, perceive Bangladesh to be at a different level. So their hope is that they will be able to attract better and bigger names, and therefore that search has been quite difficult so far. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the outcome will be and who finally also gets the job. Indian fans think that any random Indian club can be JDT or a Buriram United. They have 50% foreigners in the team. Hannibal, they don't have 50%. They have more than 50% in the sense of that their foreigners are actually also better quality. And again, we are at the moment where we are, right? Our league is not running properly. We have fundamental structural flaws, and if those are not being sorted, um, there are different agendas at play, and that's hurting Indian football down the road, right? That's a big problem at the moment. Sorry. So won't we play North Korea any present? Shanada, at the moment, uh, looks like North Korea is out. And at this stage, you know, I don't see a last minute replacement coming in. It's too late. I don't know what the reason could be for North Korea to opt out, but I think we will find out in the coming days and weeks. Ananda had a thought about Indian clubs in Asia. I believe that slightly better foreign recruitment with Indian talent can yield good results. Signing 35 plus old big names do not yield results. Thoughts? Where are we signing 35-year-old plus big names? Tell me that. Whatever 33 or should I call you rather Sebastian Vettel? To me, you know, uh, where is the better foreign recruitment going to come from? Right, that's my simple question. Uh, so for me, I don't see. I mean, uh, the performance of the Indian clubs, or forget the Indian clubs, the performance of most clubs at continental level is dependent on the quality of the foreigners that they have. If all of them have better foreigners, right? Yeah, we are gonna be able to um, compete at that level, right? But the question is are better quality foreigners willing also to come to India, right? I think the Indian market has spoiled its name quite a bit. Um, so therefore, that's the first thing. And again, yes, 100%. If we have you know five, six good foreigners, that's a different team than playing the way we play with four foreigners in the ISL. Many Southeast Asian clubs have really good foreign recruitment, and with the domestic players, they go well. For example, Sailing of Cambodia recently JTF Malaysia Fund Five. Yes, they do 33, but also do remember that Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand are getting players of origin, and then they are starting to play also in their respective club sides as well. So therefore, they are using their overseas talent. How likely you think Nepal gets banned before SAF Women's Football Championship? Roshan, it could happen, right? It could happen over the next few days with the FIFA Congress happening and other things. I don't know how quickly FIFA legal can and will act, but the likelihood that FIFA would step in at some stage and say, Nepal, what you're doing, what you've done, is wrong. Is quite likely, in my opinion. We most likely have two ACL2 qualifier matches. So do you think we should try weaker or all Indian level such a match and go for third day AFC Challenge League or win qualifier match play in ACL2? RSC game, we don't most likely. We've had again, and this is also, some of the people writing stuff on social media is very, very confusing. We had uh, clear communication from the AFC that we will have only ACL2 qualification slots, no direct slots, because we are not fulfilling the club, the league criteria, because we're not playing enough matches. So that's the one thing that needs to be clearly stated and said. Therefore, any Indian teams qualified will have to play the qualifiers of ACL2, and that's one. And secondly, do you think that we are also good enough in ACL3 to sort of say, or in the AFC Challenge League to be able to win something? Right? That is RSC game. We need to be honest at the moment where we stand. Right? And therefore, for me, ACL2 group stage, yeah, our teams are losing most of their games anyway, this way or that way. And if you think that in ACL or the AFC Challenge League will be able to challenge the opponents, I don't know, right? Because the other teams are also getting better. While we are struggling, we have our problems, our issues left, right, and center. Others around Asia are realizing and trying to do their best to be better than they have been in the past. So that's something that you and we have to sadly accept. We should see, but feel we have very low chances. 17 men almost no with just two teams, not too very tough, not to crack. It's just do or die in extreme. So might be same story. Shamlata, there is no story per se, in my opinion, right? To me, very, very clear that under 17, with all the results, this, that, whatever people want to have, we were always on the on the edges of getting somewhere. And to me, that is something which if I like or not, um, it's a very difficult one to see, and yeah, and therefore for me, um, and and so let's see what actually factually happens. So to me, mm, yeah. So someone just said, well, who is this? Let me just check. Who was this? Joseph said that. No? Joseph Vicky says in the 70 page. Yeah. Wikipedia to me is showing me that North Korea is still in the mix. So therefore, um, not sure about how this will work. But yeah, India again to get into the World Cup, you'll have to be top two. Um, I don't know how that somehow will happen. I don't know. I don't see that happening. Very, very difficult. Right. As always, 36 minutes here on this Indian football and more discussion on this Monday evening on the 27th of April. If you haven't, do please like this video, share this video, and of course, if you haven't, do subscribe to Arun Foot here on YouTube and help us grow the community. Thank you to all those of you who have been or who are members of the community. Thank you very much. 4,284 is the number of subscribers. And of course, also, if you want to become a member, do become a member. Thank you. That's also nicely growing as well, supporting me and the channel. And therefore, yeah, we need to look at those things as well. Well, I wanted to talk also a little bit about the Indian Football League and the status in there, um, where at the moment I would think um, Diamond Harbour to me look destined for ISL football. They're on 25 points from 10 matches. Shillong Lajong, Shrindi Deccan in the hunt, but 7 points behind. So that's going to be interesting to see in the second part of the season. 4 matches to play, so 4 matches of 12 points to fight for. Can the two really catch up with them or not? That's going to be the question. And yeah, to me, it looks very difficult to say the least. And it'll be very interesting to see if Diamond Harbour actually now finishes itself in a way that they will be able to be an ISL team next season. So that's going to be very interesting. Where we stand on that front. Diamond Harbour heading towards the Indian Super League at the moment with their points tally and challenging to be an ISL team next season. So that's dangerous one for the rest of the league. Quickly look at also IWL restarted. East Bengal today beat Sri Bhumi 3-1. So that's a big win for them today. They're on top of the table in the IWL, and East Bengal are set to most likely win the IWL. Again, they are 5 points ahead of Setu FC, 8 in front of Nita Football Academy. So that those are the realities. So therefore, it looks very likely. So that's the thing where these things stand at this moment in time. Is Shanhundal news fake? Yeah, of course, Arnav. How at this time we are in late April, right? We don't know what's going to happen next season. Shanhundal was in discussions with Mohammedan Sporting last winter. That is true. But Mohammedan didn't want to sign him because we had transfer issues even last winter. And at the moment, why would at the moment Shanhundal be discussing a transfer into India? How can he? I mean, yeah, guys. I mean, keep those things in mind. Transfer windows. When can players be signed? And Mohammedan Sporting have a global transfer ban, right? So for me, this question doesn't arise at the moment, right? He's playing in the USL with Brooklyn FC, and so therefore for me, again, this question doesn't arise. So therefore for me, um, yeah, why are we even talking about it? So to say, would be my question to you, because Shan is contracted in the US. He's playing in the US. I'm just looking at his team. 1 second. Um, Brooklyn FC. Uh, Playing in the USL Championship, which is the second tier of North American football. And currently, where is the league table? Uh, where is the East Zone table? Brooklyn, there it is. 7 points from 7 matches. Only 10th in the league, so not doing too well for themselves. Could do do better. But yeah, so therefore that's something. Last match was a 1-1 last Tuesday against Sacramento FC. So therefore, Brooklyn FC all to play for in that league in the USL. So for Shan, at the moment, no, at the moment, not an option in my opinion. But if the next season happens in an Indian football context, maybe Shan becomes someone available in the transfer market, and someone seriously shows an interest and maybe thinks it's a good opportunity to give someone of Indian origin, to give Shan a chance as a striker. That would be great, and then we can see if Shan can evolve into someone. But at the moment, not about the conversation. I think we need to have a conversation in general about what is the future of the Indian Super League, given the structure and given the issues, given the problems at the moment. There's a lack of clarity, in my opinion, on the matter of the ISL, and that will be interesting to see how it gets sorted. Yeah, and yeah, for me, is there is no clarity on the Shan Hundal situation. Right, let's quickly go through the Indian Super League table. And again, I did a review of match week 10. If you haven't watched it, do have a look at it. Speak about the 5 games that we've had. Quite a number of goals in that round, one has to say. And going through the ISL table at the moment is Mohammad Supergiant on top, having had played only 9 games with 20 points. They're followed by Goa, FC Goa and Mumbai City FC, who are on 19 points from 10 matches. Jamshedpur FC are found fourth with 18 points from 10 matches. Bangalore FC are fifth with 16 points from 10 matches. East Bengal FC have 15 points from 8 matches. Punjab FC have 14 points from 8 matches, seventh. And then in the so-called second half of the Intakashi, as well as Kerala Blasters have 11 points. Intakashi have played 9 matches. The Blasters have played 11 already, most of any team so far. And Sporting Club Delhi and Chennai FC have played, have 9 points. Delhi have 9. Chennai have played 10 matches. Northeast United have 7 points from 10. Odisha FC have 6 points from 8, who are 13th at bottom of the table. Mohammedan Sporting with 3 points from 10. But Mohammedan Sporting with 3 draws in a row, unbeaten at this moment in time. So that's a good streak, I think, for Mohammedan Sporting. And then they're 3 or 4 points away from the teams above them. So that makes it very, very interesting. With Mohammedan Sporting has 3 matches to go, 3 points. Odisha have 6, Northeast have 7. I think Chennai and Sporting Club Delhi on 9 are already through. I don't think they will get relegated. So I think the bottom 3 amongst them, one of the teams will finish bottom. Mohammedan Sporting still most likely, but again, we will have to wait and see. And let's quickly look at the next round of matches. Tomorrow, live watch along, East Bengal FC versus Odisha FC. Big game for both the teams in the league table, for East Bengal to potentially climb back into the title race, and for Odisha FC to try and create a gap between themselves and Mohammedan Sporting. While then on Friday, big game also in the title race, Jamshedpur FC versus FC Goa. Then on Saturday, double header, Intakashi versus Northeast United. And then the evening, the derby, so to say, Sporting Club Delhi versus Punjab FC. And then on Monday, on the 4th of May, it continues with Odisha FC versus Bangalore FC. That is match week 11. and then we have the matches from match week 12 coming up the week after. So therefore, a lot to play for in the ISL, with all the teams, so to say, fighting for positions in the league as well. Did you watch the IWL match between East Bengal and Shibumi? No, Hitesh, I did not have the time to watch that. So therefore, I didn't watch it. I just saw afterwards the result that East Bengal won 3-1. And speaking about some of the stats in the Indian Super League at the moment, top scorer is Jay McLaren on 8 goals, followed by Sunguzi Effiong as well as Yusuf Ezejari on 7. Dejan Drazic has now moved to 6 goals. And then we have Alfred Planas, Matea Babovic, as well as Lanin Zuala Changte on 4. Changte, of course, missed a big one in the last game against Gurpreet Singh Sandhu. He's on 4. And then looking at the guys who've the most assists, Young Ebindas on 5 with the most assists, followed by Rahim Ali and Shubhashish Bose on 3. And then you've got a whole bunch of players with that. Most yellow cards so far, Ayush Chetri, as well as Dejan Drazic at FC Goa, Gaurav Bora and Naucha Singh, all on 4. And of course, then, yeah, the red cards are there as well. So therefore, that is all that we have at this moment in time. So an interesting mix, so to say, in regard to the stats and other things in the ISL. We're moving into the key phase, into decision phase of the Indian Super League. That we have to think about who's going to win what, and yeah, and that's something which we need to sort of keep in mind. That is there, and as I said, it's all to play for at the bottom as well as the top. Advantage Mohun Bagan, but again, Mohun Bagan has tough games coming up, as everybody else. As I said, Jamshedpur now play Goa, Mumbai then play East Bengal amongst teams at the top. Then the big one, Saturday, 9th of May, FC Goa host Mohun Bagan. That could be decisive at the top. Later on, of course, that day, Jamshedpur was Bangalore as well, could be important. Then East Bengal host Punjab, Mohun Bagan host Inter-Kashi. We have still the Kolkata Derby, supposedly on the 17th of May. So therefore, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. And then, of course, the last match day, interesting top and bottom mix-ups. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. It looks likely now that match is being rescheduled for the 17th of May. That 24th of May looks likely to be the last match day of this ISL season. Sorry, IWL we're just speaking about. And that will be interesting to see what happens. Fazida scored a hat-trick. She plays for the Ghana national team. Yes, Hitesh, Fazida scored a hat-trick. Rimpo Halda was the scorer for Shibumi. And Roshan says, hard to believe East Bengal bottles this IWL title. Setu FC is missing our players due to injury from Kenya trip. Yeah, Roshan, I don't see East Bengal not winning it. I mean, that would be really bottling it in a big way. But yeah, they have a massive advantage going into this. And yeah, it's interesting that the East Bengal women's team have actually done things that East Bengal needed on the men's side to happen, to be done as well, and they haven't done it, and therefore that's an interesting thing to see. And we'll have to wait and see what happens uh, in the coming weeks. Yeah, and also, as I said, live tomorrow, I'll do a watch along of East Bengal FC versus Odisha FC, and I'm contemplating of doing a live watch along of the UEFA Champions League match, Paris Saint-Germain versus FC Bayern München, tomorrow at 9 p.m. European Central Time, or Central European Time, CET, which is 12:30 p.m. So if you want to join me for that, do join me. Planning to do, as I say, a live watch along of that game. Would be curious to see what happens in that game. But yeah, so therefore, if you want to join me, I'm looking forward to potentially doing a live watch along of the UEFA Champions League game, and it'll be interesting. If you want to join me for that, Bayern versus, or not Bayern versus, but rather Paris Saint-Germain versus Bayern Munich. So that's something that would be interesting. PSG versus Bayern tomorrow. Does Mohnbagan have a women's team? No, Hitesh, they don't. And we've discussed this, right? I mean, it's not been their focus. They don't have a women's team. Um, they don't focus too much on their youth teams. Grassroots is not evident as much. Compared to that, East Bengal actually does a lot more. So, and again, as I say, the women's team at East Bengal is a good example of, if you do structurally certain things, yeah, you can get quality, and that's the big difference between the two Kolkata Giants at the moment. You know that yeah, that while they haven't bothered to do things in a um, 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 have not bothered to do this, and um, to do all of that. They focused on, so that's the thing. Is PSG Bayern streamed on Amazon Prime? I think yes, Roshan. I think PSG Bayern will be here in Germany, streamed on Amazon Prime, and the other game will be on the Zone, if I'm not wrong. Demo says May's month. We are waiting for so good matches for India men's, women's senior team to 17. Let's wait and see, Timo. Very on one side, yes, very interesting matches, but on the other side, also very tricky. Again, with North Korea likely to be out of the um, Asian under 17s men's competition, that would make India's job tougher. Against Australia and Uzbekistan. And again, let's wait and see what happens. And again, yes, the under 17 women's also with tough competition with Japan, Australia in there as well. And of course, the men's set to visit London after 24 years. So that's going to be fun as well. Hopefully, I can make it across and be there for those games. So that's what I'm trying to see what can be done. And therefore, yeah. And let me figure out that one out and be there for that as well. So therefore, a lot of interesting football coming up, guys, in the coming days and weeks. And therefore, yeah, keep on supporting Arunfoot. I'll try and follow all of those matches and games. And yeah, 4 likes so far only on this video, guys. I think all of you, we can do better. I know we're not too many today, but do leave a like behind, share it with others, and if you haven't, do subscribe to the channel as well. I need your support, and also watch the short videos that I try and make on a regular basis. Then without your support, the channel will not grow, or I will not be able to grow the channel. Let's put it this way. That is very, very important. Yeah, here, what can happen, and um, yeah, and uh, so therefore, for me, that's yeah. We will, not we will. I will. We will. That's going to be very, very important to see what happens, and it's so therefore, yeah. We will have to wait and see. Um, so therefore, need your support on that as well. Ravi Pushkar just replied to your quoted tweet of his. Okay, let me see what Ravi has replied. Okay, I missed the point. Okay, I think you missed my point. I'm not saying tech won't help. It's absolutely can. I'm saying tech can be the foundation of the solution when the basic economics of the system don't work. Whether the money received by clubs is well spent or not is a separate conversation. The question here is more basic. Will clubs receive anything at all if clubs are expected to keep funding teams, academies, facility, travel, match day, and community work? As there's some revenue upside in the system, tech can help at the top of the pyramid. Can't we fix a model where those clubs building the product have no incentive to keep doing it? Yeah, he has a point, but my counter, you know, agree on that point on one side, but the question is, um, where is the product to generate the money, right? Hannibal, that's my big question is, um, to me, uh, so therefore for me, the problem is what comes first? Can I generate revenue, more revenue when my product is poor? Now, if I want to improve my product on the field, my problem is of the product. That's a long term thing. I'm not getting better quality foreigners tomorrow. Because I'm thinking about it today, I'm not going to get better players tomorrow morning, right? That's the reality, right? So therefore, for me, um, um, the question here at the end of the day is where um, where is the incentive? Where is the model to try and create something? My problem at the moment is our product has been damaged and killed to some extent, killed actually, right? By the system. Right? The system has not worked towards building a product which can be pushed over the line to grow. My biggest problem at the moment, thinking about this, the product is not there where it could, should, needs to be. Therefore, how can we change that? Very big problem. Right? So therefore, for me, um, um, you know, and I've understood Ravi's thing well, I think. But my question is, what comes first? Because the way the league is running at the moment, there's no incentive for anyone who's not following the ISL. Nerds like us, let's say nerds like us are watching the ISL. Even a lot of people who've been watching the ISL over the last 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, a lot of people have given up. How do I attract those people back? So for me, my problem is, um, you know, how do I get the people back to be interested in the product, which is not the product that I wanted it or need it to be, not wanted, but need it to be to attract people to watch, to make it commercially viable. Australia lost to Vietnam in the ASEAN Club. ASEAN Championship U17. I've seen some of the match, especially the match in Singapore. They did really struggle to maintain the rhythm and last minute of the game by one goal win the match this year. Team is not up to the mark. Looking forward what happened in the group. Then let's wait and see. If you think that we are up to the mark, then you're already doing another we qualified. Nice. And again, people say, oh, we got some great results. Can someone tell me why we lost 1-5 to UAE the other? No one can, right? So therefore, for me, I don't know how good or bad we are. My general feeling is that the standard of Asian under 17, under 20, under 23 football has gone down quite a bit. Just to see, right? If we are suddenly doing better, even though our teams are not as good as they've been in the past, then the others can't be better because if we're getting better results, that means if it's correlated, if it's related to each other, that means to me that these problems are interrelated, correlated, and that means there is a massive problem in the system. And to me, therefore, Timu, let me go into these competitions with no expectations. If we're going to get something out of it, I'll be more than happy. If we get a result, if we go to the World Cup, I'll be the happiest man. But I've learned this the hard way over the last 3+ decades. Don't expect anything from Indian football. If you expect something, you will be disappointed. Right? If we look at the women's team, right? Early last month, people were expecting us to go to the Women's World Cup. There were actually Indian football fans who generally thought India had a realistic chance to go to the Women's World Cup. Now, after playing a few weeks ago the FIFA series against Kenya and playing the matches against Kenya and against Malawi, We beat Malawi 3-2, right? We never deserved to win that game, right? So reality check of our standards. I don't need to check the standards of the others. We need to look at ourselves. And our standards overall are a point of concern to me, right? If I see all the players who've been hyped, who've been pushed by people, and people are hoping, um, right? Um, that's the problem. So to me, the overall issue here is very, very simple, that we need to find solutions which are workable in regard to our growth. Otherwise, nothing will happen. That's my honest assessment. So, yeah. So therefore, for me, that's the problem. So therefore, for me, yeah, as much as I like certain things, that will not happen. Right? Over an hour already. Wow. Okay. Didn't realize Indian football and more discussion on this Monday late evening. If you haven't, do like, to share, to subscribe to Arun Foot. Yeah, we are growing the community. Thanks a lot for that. And as always, need your support. Without your support, this channel will not be able to grow. Follow me also on my other social medias. Follow me on my on Arun Foot, on Twitter, on or X as it's now formally called. Support me on Instagram. Go to arunfoot.com. Go to my others as well, and therefore, yeah, I'm trying to. And as always, your support is needed, without which nothing can, so to say, happen. Right. So I seem to have answered most of your queries and points. Now, what do you find out when we face a U17 Russian team? What went wrong? All lost all three matches, not good. Temu, I didn't, again, physicality, a lack of basics, right? There's a gulf of standard. That is just there. The Russian girls are just better than us, period. Right? I don't need to look at things and think about things. They're better than us, right? And therefore, if we play those kind of competition, or face that kind of competition, we are without a chance, without a realistic chance against them. And that's the brutal reality of things, right? So for me, yeah, if I like it or not, um, we're just not, yeah, good enough against a team like Russia, because they are just simply better than us, right? I don't need to think about it, right? And if anyone thinks, again, those matches are good exposure, but the question is, can we solve our issues with the basics? Yeah, and to me, my wishes and my hope is always there that we can improve our basics. But does that happen? Because the basics is something, either you have it or you don't, right? I always say that, and therefore, for me, yeah, it's a difficult one at the moment. But again, if Pamela Conti can get some results out of it, and let's wait and see what the girls have learned from those games. Can they be better? Again, there is certain potential. I think the women's, from a potential, are better than our boys. But can we get something out of it? I don't know, right? So, you know, and that's where we stand. That's my whole concern about this whole situation. Where do I stand? Where we stand? Where can we build it? And that's where it's hurting. It's hurting us left, right, and center, because we're not evolving and developing. We are stuck in our own system. And as long as you don't have these girls at under 14, 15, under 17 level, So yeah, let's see what happens. So therefore, um, we need to do a lot more. We need to do a lot more. Um, Not only the girls but the boys as well. And yeah, let's wait and see what happens. Mason Greenwood will make his debut for Jamaica against India. Okay, Timo, Jamaica will be a strong team for us when we play them. Um, they will be a very very strong opponent. Let me just quickly go through their squad in March. Um, this will be, a tough nut to crack, and uh, let's see who the head coach will be because they don't have a head coach after Steve McLaren resigned and Rudolph Spide took over. But in the last window, if I look at their team, look at their squad, um, and all the three goalkeepers play in the US. You have experienced Ethan Pinnock from Brentford. You've got Amari Bell, who's at Charlton Athletic, Richard King at St. Mirren, Joel Letibaudier, who just got promoted with Coventry City, the vice captain Damien Love, who's now gone to Indonesia to Dewa United. You have Infre, who is with Inter Miami, Andy Brooks, who is with Sheffield United. Of course, Leon Bailey used to be with Bayer Leverkusen, now with Aston Villa. Casey Palmer with Luton Town. Bobby the Cordova Reed with Leicester City. Talented, experienced Isaac Hayden with Queen's Park Rangers. Tyrese Hall, Notts County. Keroy Anderson with Blackpool. And then up front, Efron Mason Clark with Coventry City. Bailey Kada Materi with Wrexham. Tyrese Campbell at Charlton Athletic. Norman Campbell at Vare Nagasaki. Jamal Love with Sheffield Wednesday. Ronaldo Sifas with Nishiki Novgorod, and Demarai Gray with Birmingham City. Just to say, those are the names, and a few guys have been left out. This is a different level. For us, will be very interesting to see. Hi, Rudro. Thanks. Good to see you back as well here on the channel. So Genius Sports can bring the best technology in ISL, but what about players' quality? If that doesn't improve, then the league itself can't grow. Rutu, there are two things. And let me be very frank on that. If we're gonna go with the angle of, what players, I just quickly get up and I'll keep on talking. The challenge that I see over here happening is the reality of one is the league running, the production, the quality of the league overall. And on the other side is what is the quality of the football that we have on the field. Now, if you want to think, even if I do adjustments today, if I do just adjustments tonight to the Indian football system, in a way of saying, you know what, I improve the quality of my player input now, my results will not come tomorrow or day after. My results will take a long, long time. Yeah. And to me, the reality is that you have to, I think that is a differentiation in regard to what can we do with the league, right? What do we build with the league? And on the other side, what do we do on the player development stuff? Now, the question is, how can the AIFF get tough on club licensing, forcing clubs to spend an X amount of their budget on youth development? Salary cap needs to be a conversation. There needs to be a conversation on that as well. So therefore, if we don't rectify those things, we are not going to get the things we need to improve Indian football. We do not know what we're going to get out of those things. So therefore, for me, that's the challenge. And, yeah, that's going to be very, very important in my opinion. And let's wait and see where we stand, because to me, it's not easy, and it will be very, very challenging to see how we take all of that forward. And yeah, it's going to be very challenging um, for us overall um, on that front. So therefore, that's something which you need to keep in mind. So therefore, we'll have to wait and see if the Genius Sports solution is a good one or not. We'll have to wait and see. But again, what options do we have? Because from a commercial standpoint, I don't think we have many options. That's the thing. That's the thing. I think one of those big problems we have. Hey Kumar, welcome back. What's up with Pakistan playing some kind of UEFA U6 November tournament? What is that? Is that a genuine thing? Yeah, well, they're playing in Kazakhstan, as far as I think, as if I'm right. Uh, you know, you know. Um, so therefore, for me, um, let's see, what happens. Something bad gonna happen. Genius Sports becomes a commercial partner, cannot recover that money. Clubs bleed even more. There are some unofficial reports came out that during the meeting between Genius Sports and clubs have satisfied some of the ideas and plans. Genius Sports, I don't know. This is an unofficial report which you can take. Timo, again, you mention it. Unofficial. What report? Who says? Take all the reports. And let me this be advice to you and anyone who's listening. All these reports and say, oh, you know what, this has come out, that has come out. Where be clear what is the source? Is the AFF my source? Or is someone in the AFF given that info? Has it come from a club? What is the intention agenda behind it? Right? You know, so um, the question here is that what Genius Sports is offering, does it help us? Right? Or does it not? Simple question. The first thing is what I've learned in the last few weeks, doing a little bit of real research, not online research, but talking to people, that Genius Sports is someone um, who have interests in the data generated out of a league, which is then sold, for example, to betting platforms or used by corporates. Um, so therefore, for me, um, the question is what value do they add, right? The problem here is, which nobody's saying, but that's the real problem. If we look at the numbers provided by Reliance through FSDL or through IMG Reliance before that, the 50 crore flat to the AFF was fundamental for the All India Football Federation to run. And on the other side, the clubs were, yeah, paying something into the central pool, but also were getting money out of that central pool, right? So there's two sides to that story. So to me, um, as I say with everything else in Indian football, you can read, you can watch anything and everything that people are putting out there. Be critical and think, why is this information, why is that information being put out and by whom? Sorry, most of the people have an agenda. Let me call it out. I'm the only one who's calling it out on a regular basis, right? And a lot of these people don't have Indian football. They will tell you Indian football. Oh, I did this. I want this. Oh, Indian football. No, guys. No, it's about them. For a lot of these people, it's about their pockets and about power. It's not about Indian football. So be careful about this. Hi, Atha, welcome back. Why aren't we getting invites to those type of things? Pakistan is like 200 FIFA ranked. Why not us? Hannibal, we are a global nobody in football, right? You know, so yeah, let's see. As you say, journalists and content creators, Timo, that's what I'm saying. Be careful. I would not believe it. Again, if I know, see, these people are not being honest with us about what's happening. The AIFF is doing their own thing. The clubs are doing their own thing. They are not doing the right things. Funnily, the IFL, from a background organizational structure, seems to be more solid than the ISL. Much less money involved, but seems to be much more stable. So let's wait and see. Venezuela lost 2-1 against Russia. Hannibal, again, yes, there is something happening, but I don't know if it's really real. The problem to me is Russia cannot play a U16 UEFA tournament. So I don't know what is being played over there. Um, so so I'm not sure if that's a real tournament or not, but yeah. I'm just saying the things ahead. I'm just saying to Temu, the point is at this moment, as I talk to you, that Genius Sports is willing to come to India and trying to build a property. Given the realities of things, they know what they would get themselves into. They're willing to offer you $7 million at the start. That to me is already a positive. That the financial model doesn't work should be clear to everybody, right? If the AFF is cribbing, if the clubs are cribbing, guys, it is your fault. You guys have knowingly, unknowingly worked against the interest of this product in the last few years, right? So that is the point. The ideal case scenario, in my opinion, is could you try and get Genius and Fancode to somehow work together? That to me, rather Genius versus Fancode, for me, get them to work together. Get the expertise of Genius in, right? From their knowledge and expertise. Fancode has gained some knowledge and understanding as a broadcaster, and try and get that, merge that together and try and work on that. That would be to me, yeah, if you ask me, the best possible scenario, given the realities of what's happening. So yeah. So therefore, let's wait and see what happens. So yeah, realities of where we stand today as I speak to you. So one question was, player from Raj Singh is being selected as playing a 15 tournament, and these boys are fraud just like Ranjit. Aditya, good question. We'll see if that boy makes it into the final squad or not. And then if he doesn't make it into final squad, then you have your answers. Right? Well, if a development tournament, now let's have him come here. Pakistan is mostly players older than 80 plus. Aditya, how do you know that? Right? If you are making such an allegation, right, against XYZ, and you're sitting yourself in a glass house, don't throw it stones when you're sitting in a glass house against others. Right? That's my only piece of advice. Genius Sports might be selling the data and good prices to the betting companies, might also be able to make profits, probably a win-win for what AFF Genius. However, I don't see Genius making a profit at the start. I don't know why you think that good price. What do you know what the value of the data is? Right? They're not going to make profits. Genius's challenge will be that they will have to spend money to enhance the product to make it a sellable product. And for that to happen, the AFF, the clubs, whoever the broadcasting partners is, and other partnerships as well in the background have to work together to make this workable. At the moment, whatever we have is not workable. So the AFF and their partners, yeah, everyone Everyone needs to come together to work towards the same aim, the same goal. That is the problem at the end of the day, which we have in Indian football, right? So, yeah, let's wait to see where we head with this. These incentive matches, good or bad? Aditya, this is certainly not the best under 17 match, but you have to understand one thing. It has become easier to qualify from Asia to a FIFA under 17 World Cup because it's in 48 team competition, and you have uh, 8 slots in Asia, meaning if you finish top two in your group, you are in the World Cup. So that is possible. And this is not a question of good or bad. This certainly is not the best batch we've had, right? The best batch for me, under 17 World Cup squad or 2002. Those two would be the best batches. If we're having a discussion about quality of our teams, right? So therefore, for me, yeah, for me, that's going to be the question, right? Can we get the um, right players into the system and build something in the background or no? And that's at the moment to me looks tough, if you ask me. So yeah, that's the reality, no? About our under 17s or whatever. We're not producing better players. Why? Valid question, difficult question. I don't have an answer to it. This is the one answer that I cannot give you an answer to, except that I say, you know what, we have a problem with our coaching. If we don't improve our coaching, nothing will happen to take us anywhere in the world of football, which is, in my opinion, our biggest problem, right? And Bibiano cannot do much because this is the quality that he's being provided by the setup, right? So realities of Indian football. Welcome to those realities. Right, 1 hour 23 minutes exactly now on the clock of this live. Um, let's see. For me, that we're talking on this Monday evening. Quick reminder: if you haven't, do like, do share, and if you haven't, do subscribe to the channel as well. 7 likes so far, guys. I think we can do much better. Thank you as well. Last Thursday, with over 20,000 views, 68 likes of the Kerala Blasters versus Odisha FC game. Tomorrow back with East Bengal versus Odisha FC, and then later on with the UEFA Champions League. Guess I'll do a watch along of Paris Saint-Germain versus FC Bayern Munich. So therefore, join me for that. And we stand at 4,285 subscribers. Thank you very much as well. And let's keep on growing the community, guys. I need your support. And watch the short videos. I did something today on the match week 10 of the Indian Super League, my review of that. So do watch that as well. And thank you as always. I don't care about these guys are doing this is in these youth category tournaments in long term will suffer meant to be for allegedly something it's done by India or Pakistan or Nigeria or any other country will suffer, and players also age fraud. Yeah, Timo, 100% right. The loser. Why? Good question. Why have Nigeria and Ghana, for example, won the under 17 World Cup, but not really been successful that much, except maybe saying, hey, Ghana reached the quarterfinal, or Morocco reached the semis, or Cameroon reached the quarters. Yeah. So therefore, for me, that is a very valid question that we can't answer, because to me, the issue here is we are not doing what is needed to check age fraud. So yeah, very difficult, very complicated, and let's see what happens Um, and Temu, yeah, very right. It's short. Who, whichever academy, whichever club, whichever nation is doing it, you harm your own football. You are detrimental to the development of the game. Then you got 20,000 views on Carabas. Yes, I did. Not the first time, to be very honest. And thank you very much because I've now had, if I look at my most viewed matches, my top matches actually mainly contain Kerala Blasters, yeah, which shows you how big the Kerala Blasters community is. And look at the most watched was the opener of the ISL, more than 20,000, 21,000 views, Mohun Bagan versus Kerala Blasters. And then the other day, Kerala Blasters versus Odisha FC. Um, Bangladesh, India last year. Then Mumbai City versus Kerala Blasters in the Super Cup, which has more than 16,000 views. And then Kerala Blasters versus Northeast United a few weeks ago, which had more than 13,000 views. So those are the top five. BFC versus Kerala Blasters also joins that group. So therefore, yeah, a lot of views. As always, thank you very much for the support. These Kerala Blasters who wants to come to the stadium, but the popular voice influencers say them not to. Hannibal, it's a very difficult scenario. The Kerala Blasters are in a situation which is, which is very difficult to sort. Because to me the biggest problem of the club is that the fans want to come, right? There are, as you say, there are certain people in those respective fan groups who are sort of saying, "Hey guys, don't do this, don't do that," and that is not helping football. And the question is, how can you solve it? How can you sort it? I don't have an answer, to be very honest to you, because it is the way it is, and it's very difficult to yeah to figure out how we are how we're going to get to the solution of all these things. But to me, yeah, no, still, I don't know how we can sort ourselves out in a way that it will. I don't know. It's very, in my opinion, very difficult to find a solution which is workable, right? Uh, um, so therefore, for me, um, for Kerala Blasters and its fans, first of all, I want the club to survive. That's the first thing, and I want these problems to go away so that the club can go into a more stable environment and maybe build a team. If the ISL survives, that Kerala Blasters can build a team over the next 2-3 years to maybe fight for the title. That would be my dream for the Blasters and its fans because they deserve that. Now they're 12 years and yes, they've never won the league and they've struggled and they've done this, they've done that. To me, that is something which I would wish for the Blasters because that would be good for not only for Kerala Blasters but for Indian football, and therefore that's a challenge yeah, which I would hope um, things one day maybe go in the right direction. Does there's any floating news of league? Aditya, I fear yes. I do not think that our team is completely free of overage players. In the past, it used to be a big problem, and we're not talking about players being, 6 months or a year older, but we have had players who have been older 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. So therefore, it has been a prevalent problem. If we again, that's what I'm saying. If you want to point fingers at others, that might be easy to do, but we are part of that same club. We have the same problem. We have the same issues. Um, that's one of those realities. Hi, Sasha. Good to see you back. Might have missed it earlier since I just joined, but I saw a post online saying Interkashi might withdraw. Is it true or just people creating rumors? Sasha, at the moment, Interkashi surely is not withdrawing from anything, and it is only just rumors. Interkashi, again, are being forced and dragged into court by Churchill Brothers. That's the reason, which is there. Um, and therefore for me it is something, it's a problem, it's surely a problem, but the question at the moment is yeah, what's going to happen and where are we, and you know and therefore we'll have to wait and see what happens in the coming weeks. and months, because I think there are a lot of teams, as I've said multiple times, you know, and let's wait and see. Interkashi is a very tricky thing. I think, um, Senor Havas made a statement few days ago, which has caused a lot of confusion. And there are again there are elements who are, as with everything, guys. Sorry, I have to now say this. That there are people trying to influence things this way or that way. So that's why, and so let's see. Age fraud, and we are not mentioning Gaurav Mukhi. Not going to happen. Youngest 28-year-old in Indian football. Hannibal, the biggest global embarrassment, in that, which was one of, again, an Indian football in a global context gets spoken about in these sort of embarrassing scandals. And this is most probably the biggest of them all, that is so-called the youngest goal scorer of all times. And I remember FSDL did a massive campaign with Jamshedpur FC around it, and then a few days later came out, oops, you know what? He's much much older. He's not even close to being 16. And then someone said, oh no, he's 21. So I was about to believe, but I looked at the player and thought, listen, this guy is not 21. Sorry, guys. And then later turned out that he was 28. And yeah, that's why we have our own sort of. Um Sort of um, so to me the biggest problem is here is, can we sort these things in a way which that age fraud is not the problem that it is for us, right? So for me, it is a challenge and will be a challenge, so sadly to say. CK Vineet facing backlash when he encouraged fans to come to stadium, that you also there is no chanting from fans, a large number of fans against him. He's a great player, but no for fans are against him. Timo, the problem here is, here that CK Vineet, I agree with him. You can boycott the club management. You can boycott the sporting management of the club, but you do not stop supporting your club, right? And also, Kerala Blasters media team, some of the posts are, in my opinion, ridiculous. So therefore, for me, I've always said that if you're a real football fan and anything anywhere in the world, boycott is never the answer. We've had boycott even here in Germany. Teams have had minutes of boycotts. So therefore, for me, um, this blaster situation needs to be sorted, and therefore that's a big challenge, and um, we'll have to wait and see what transpires. But and CK Vineet was at the ground the other day. I saw him a few times against Odisha FC, and again. Uh, you can do both. You can criticize the management and be in there in support of your team, or should. What are your thoughts on Kolhapur in terms of football fan base, and why not big academies come there? Aditya, no, sadly, I've never been to Kolhapur. Would have loved to have seen that craze for football, but why don't the big academies come there? Because again, it is local football. Maybe the quality is not there, right? So that is maybe the whole point. South American football pages constantly post about this. In a month or two, I see a post about him from them. Oops. Okay, Hannibal, has not come to my feed and to my attention. What court is Chacho is going to take into account? And once said no, this case goes. Sasha, my understanding is yes, the case should be closed once CAS has said, you know what, we've spoken in favor. Now they've dragged them back to Delhi High Court. I think someone needs to, at some stage, needs to take the Indian judiciary to CAS and say, make them understand and say, listen, if CAS makes a judgment, you are out of it. You cannot be part of the conversation. Khatam, tata, bye bye, gone, finished. You are out of this conversation. CAS is the final body. And the AIFF at some stage needs to get a spine, stand up for itself, and fight these people who are harming the interest of Indian football in the interest of Indian football. If you don't stand up for yourself, stand up for Indian football, guys. It is needed, right? So that's the difficulty at the moment. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens, right? I'm waiting to see if a crazy judgment comes out from Delhi High Court, and then maybe Intakashi says, you know what? We've tried our bit. We want to do Indian football. We are shutting down the team. That is might be an outcome. As I said earlier, there is no confirmation that Inter-Kashi are going to be shutting down at this moment. But this matter is so, it's gone to the level of ridiculousness that where are we going? Where are we heading with that? Do you think Genius Sports can make ISL a global brand? Harsh, this is a big thing. I don't see in the short term that the ISL can be turned into a global brand. I think the ISL needs to be stabilized first. There needs to be a certain level of structural solidity. There needs to be a certain amount of understanding of what are the finances, what is going to happen. And to me, global brand comes way, way down the road. You know, you know, what kind of music to listen to? Hannibal, it depends on mood. For me, um, yeah, it depends on the mood. It can be classic, it can be jazz. If the mood is like that, it can be house, it can be EDM, even yeah, some fusion stuff, Indian stuff. So I'm not fixed on any genre of music. I remember the commentary when he scored against Bangalore FC, youngest goal scorer of ISL because of his height. Most fans also felt like maybe 16. Yeah, it is what it is. Timu, just look at the face of the player. I mean, if anyone's going to tell me that he was 13 at that stage, I remember I said that to someone. I said, because there was this big picture, right, where we celebrated. Look at his face. That guy cannot be 16, right? And so therefore, for me, um, you know, um, so for me, it is something, yeah, which is one of those realities, right? One of those realities of Indian football, if I like it or not, uh, you know, and so therefore, for me, the problem is that it's just yeah, it has been a global embarrassment. Let's keep it as that. Give me a band or an artist. I got Spotify lists. I don't even. I'm not fixated on bands and artists. What am I listening a lot to? I don't even know. Some of these Scandinavian guys. Right? Can you please clear what is the club's 60% revenue share is of 100% of league revenue, or 60% of which I forget. Harsh, they will get the revenue of, first of all, um, whatever's being spent, right? Um, Whoever's spending the money, be it Genius or be it Fancode, that money has to be recovered. And then if there is something on top of that coming in, then there's a share. There's a certain share that the AIFF will get. There's a certain share that the commercial partner will get, and then there's a certain share which the clubs will get. Right? The final calculations will depend on what has been going to be worked out in that final module, which is still not 100% confirmed, even though people tell you that. So why is Ukraine so unpredictable? They win once by 1-0 and lose by 5-1. Same with Turkey and UAE. Aditya, I saw the match against Turkey, or the matches against Turkey. Turkey should have thrashed us in both games, right? Again, we should not be even if playing Turkey is a bonus, and forget the result. Don't forget these are friendlies, and in friendlies, I don't know if the UE in the first game maybe put in their B team and then got that result. In the second game, they put in the first team, or vice versa. Viviano tried out something in the first game which worked, in the second game it didn't. I don't know. We didn't see the matches. So therefore, don't take these results seriously. Asian Cup, that's where these under 17 boys will have to prove. 16-year-old had a mustache thicker than Bert Reynolds. Exactly, Sasha. And look at the marks in his face at the time. I mean, you know, he would have been the oldest 16-year-old in the world, most probably. Currently 17 women's favorite player for me, Anushka Kumari. What special talent? Temu, yeah, it would be most probably Anushka Kumari with the potential, but let's wait and see what she does in the Asian level. What's going on with Inter Kashim? Aman, we just spoke about it, not much, in the sense of there are a lot of troubles around the club, you know, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Since someone mentioned Cambodian football the other day, I suppose someone involved there. A lot of the clubs have foreign investment. They're building infra, investing heavily. Yeah, Sasha, they've even the former owners of Chennai City FC are invested into that league, and again, they're. But again, the problem is infra construction in that part of the world is much easier than here in Indian context, including now women's and youth football, but by bit by bit, yes. So if I say 100 crore profit, then how much will clubs get in total? According to my understanding, 60 crores they would get out of the 100. One of foreigners come from India. Yes, as I said, Timu, Rohit Ramesh, the owner of, or the former owner of Chennai City FC. So Chennai City FC, former I League winners, their owner is one of the investors into the Cambodian system. That is where. So that's the thing. Um, can Indian players play in Cambodian league as foreigners? Yeah, I think we can play anywhere in the world theoretically, but no one's going to take us, right? We've had Connor Shields, for example, has gone there, right? Last season, Chennai FC. So therefore, yeah, but no one's going to take Indian players. Forget the point. See, the point of Indian players being taken by foreign clubs. Either, like I have done it in the past, I had to request, sometimes even beg people and say, hey, will you give an Indian player a chance? If you ask 100 people, most probably one person say, yeah, okay, Arunava, I know you. Yeah, yeah, let's see. And then he says, oh, why did you bring me that Indian player? He's not good enough. And yeah, so therefore for me, um, Indian players going abroad is very, very unlucky. Yeah. Yeah. They can, but if you look at the Brazilian playing on set corner shields for Sway Young is on. Yeah, Sasha, that's what I'm saying. If you got an Indian boy, if you got a Spaniard, a Brazilian, an African, why would someone take an Indian player? No one's going to take an Indian player as a foreigner in Southeast Asia. They don't need, right? They have got much better quality than what we can provide. And it's, if we like it or not, reality of things. So very difficult at the moment for us. And our boys, our players need to be much, much better. And that's going to be one of those challenges. Why us? Maybe in parallel universe. Temu, even in the parallel universe, you don't know how good the quality of these other players are. But to me, yeah, therefore very difficult at the moment. Impossible, not difficult. It's close to impossible for us, for our players to go into those markets and think, you know what, we're going to play there and we're going to get an opportunity, going to get a chance. It's very, in my opinion, very difficult to think about that. And yeah, reality of where we stand at this moment in time. Do you think ISO will get 100 crore podcast deal and 30 vertical tile sponsor and 80 crore overall? And what's if being sports by high quality 30%? No. Harsh, you are talking about numbers which are totally unrealistic at the moment. At the moment, it is about trying to figure out is there anyone willing to even put in? You know, there were the attempts to try and sign a title sponsor this season, right? People are not even willing to pay 5 crores for a short-term ISL title sponsorship, right? So therefore, let's not get into this, uh, you know. Conversation. You're going too far into those numbers. 35 crore quality production is not going to be enough. If it's a full season, you will need much more. That won't be enough. And if someone tells me that, again, people say, oh, you know what, the quality of ISL, this and that. So listen, I can see when I'm doing the live watch alongs that there are angles which are not available because we don't have enough cameras. And sometimes you see how people are cutting from A to B. Again, I have done media production, I do commentary. So I know what to look at. And I know that the quality at the moment is not the same as it was in the past. People are trying to tell you that the quality is much, much worse. But again, given the realities, is actually good. So therefore, these are all factors which you need to remember. And if you think that genius will come in tomorrow and tomorrow there will a revolution happen in Indian football, that's also not going to happen. We have an upside down pyramid. That's the problem. The foundation is horrible, and you can see the end result. Yeah, Sasha. But again, there are other parts of the world where the upside down model has worked or does work because the bottom doesn't exist because individual talent comes through. Even that doesn't happen in our system, and that's another problem. People blame that our players don't want to go abroad, but some say the foreign clubs only don't take Indians. So who is more percentage responsible for it? Aditya, you can't say it's a percentage thing. You know, uh, uh, and the problem here is not is the it's what is it? I can't even tell you a percentage. Is it 50-50? Is it 40-40? Is it 60-40, 70-30? I don't know. The point here is that no club is looking at an Indian player. Generally, if someone tells you, oh, you know what, I'm looking at an Indian player, then you have to think, okay, do you have a problem or what is it? You know, um, and um, and therefore, I can't give you a percentage. Why again? And that's why I'm asking. People doing the blame game is very simple, right? I can tell you that I know of multiple players in the winter when there was no clarity if the IS is going to happen, that players tried to find clubs abroad and even spoke with clubs who signed ISL foreigners in Southeast Asia. No Southeast Asian club showed even a second of interest in an Indian footballer, right? Even I spoke to clubs in Europe and everyone said, no, not interested. Even you at lower level. As an Indian coach abroad, I can tell you it's possible, but are they going to work for 800 euros net and then pay 500 for rent and survive? Sasha, coach and players is a different thing. Sorry to say that. And because for a player, yeah, there are other things which are also criteria. As a coach, I know you are facing a lot of difficulty, but as a coach, it is easier than as a player. A player, it there needs to be an interest of the club to take the player. Yeah, Aditya, sad but reality. For this intercaste situation, who needs to be blamed? AFF or CEO? You mean Churchill Brothers? I'm on both. The AFF has not taken a stand on this matter. No? The AFF should have always supported Interkashi and they never did. That's your problem, right? So to me, um, that's your problem, and that problem has never been solved. So therefore, we are where we are, and yeah, and therefore that problem exists, not only persists but exists as a reality. What will be our FIFA rank if OCA and PR are fully allowed? Aditya, theoretical question, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Man. Again, it's if OCA PO and OCA PO is the same thing. So that's also a clarification, right? Is a player of Indian origin is an OCI card holder potentially, and then an Indian passport holder. I don't know what the difference would be, because, and I think you're seeing that in Bangladesh where they think that the revolution will happen overnight, or Indonesia, it it takes time. But if I look at the Philippines, who used to be one of the worst teams, you know, and so therefore. Um, um, they've evolved as a team over the last 15 years since they started opening up to players of origin. On the contrary, there's not much of a market for coaches alone on Indian one, but possible players as Indian players, you'd have to play lower division, lower down the ladder. You can't, Sasha, because you're not going to get a work permit as a player. No, if you're thinking, um, you can't come into Europe as an amateur, right? All those who are playing theoretically in Europe are illegally playing, right? There is There is no way to say, listen, tomorrow I'll give you a chance at FC Remscheid here and then you can work your way up. No, I can't give you a chance at FC Remscheid to play here in the sixth tier of German football because you have to have a full-time job to be able to play because this is amateur football. So if you want to come to Europe as a footballer, you have to have a pro contract. Those who are coming with those, those lower levels in Spain, pay to play. Different thing. You're paying, you're not getting paid. That's the reality. You work your way up from not so great team, but it's not easy. No, Sasha, it's again, as I say, it's not possible. Amateur football, semi-pro is not possible. You have to have a pro contract. Yes, always have to meet minimum wage requirements. That's the same for everyone. Yeah, but Sasha, as a coach, your advantage theoretically is if you are working semi-pro amateur level, that is theoretically possible, right? You could have a job and on the side coach 2 3 weeks, and that's something which is possible. Porto has the lowest minimum wage, I think, at 900. Yeah, Sasha, but that minimum wage will not work because um, there are some extra criteria now on top of that in regard to what's it called, sustainability of life. I don't know what the word is. So therefore, the lowest wage, yes, is there, but then plus X, I think you have to be in the region of 1,500 to be able to play. And Sunil was on that lowest wage when he went to Sporting Lisbon, right? Um, Sunil can do that. Who else can do that, right? So therefore, that's the thing. Who will take you? Sunil was taken on not on a football merit, but Sunil was taken on, yeah, which was a commercial deal to make sporting interesting in the Indian marketplace. So those some of the sad realities of things, right? And things haven't improved since when Sunil was in Portugal at the time. Why would a European club be eager to sign a 16-year-old Brazilian footballer, offer a pre-counter pay, a massive 60 centimeter transfer? Why to the kind of game because of that? Mm, That's a proven talent. What we have is here and unproved. So there's no question of asking why the Indian players abroad. Temu, yeah, you would gamble. Yes, it's always a gamble. If you never know if XYZ player will make it or not. But the advantage of that talent from um, those countries have an advantage, and which our players won't have, right? So therefore, for me, the biggest challenge would always be, can we really compete with those kind of setups? Can we compete with and yeah, it's difficult in my opinion, but yeah, it's we are not part of that party, no. So our problem is that, right? For us, the talent, our talent cannot get into a discussion with talent from Brazil or from other parts of the world. Reality, sad reality. So um, our players going abroad is either you sacrifice a lot and go somewhere and try it, as Sandesh tried in Croatia and sadly didn't work out. But those are realities of things. And yeah, if I like it or you like it or we like it or not, these realities are quite brutal in regard to our players. Right. 1 hour 54 minutes of this Indian football and more discussion. A reminder for tomorrow, couple of watch-alongs that I'm planning to do tomorrow. On one side, of course, East Bengal FC versus Odisha FC. Last ball saloon for the red and gold to try and be and remain in the title race. And Odisha FC, yeah, only 3 points ahead of Mohammedan Sporting. Very, very dangerous position suddenly they find themselves in. So therefore, that's an interesting one. And tomorrow night, um, um, it's Paris Saint-Germain versus Bayern Munich in the UEFA Champions League. So I'll do a watch along of PSG versus FCB tomorrow night. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. So yeah, first leg of the UEFA Champions League. So therefore, do join as well. Also sell on value African players that move here. Young have a good opportunity. Portuguese Angolan player Rui Modesto moved from my club at the time, Honka to ICAS in Sweden, and now he's in Italy. 6, 7 figure transfer value to the Finnish club who got him for nothing. Yeah, Sasha, that is what Scandinavian clubs do. They do well. Same thing can be said about Portuguese clubs, Spanish, even some of the smaller Spanish clubs who do that. And again, if we have a pool of 4 or 5 players who suddenly break through, Indian players who break through in Europe, in forget the top 5 leagues, but in leagues, suddenly people will look at our talent, right? And that's something um, which happens to markets, right? And I was talking to a friend who's from not from who's Iraqi origin, and who's worked in the sort of Iraqi system, and Iraq has actually figured out. Some of their players have gone abroad, right? And of course, Iraq has added players of origin. So therefore, that's the interesting part. Two-sided ways of, players of origin, and then your players also going abroad of getting opportunities which they normally wouldn't get. And that's something which is very very interesting to see about talent development. Right. Sorry, guys. Slowly we'll come to an end of this Indian football and more discussion on this Monday evening. I said, do like, do share. If you haven't, do subscribe. Please help me grow the Arun Foot community. And tomorrow, 2 watch-alongs. First, East Bengal FC versus Odisha FC, and then later on, the cracker of Paris Saint-Germain versus FC Bayern München in the UEFA Champions League first leg at the Parc de France. So therefore, do join me for those two, and keep watching Arun Foot, keep supporting Arun Foot, and help me grow the community as always. And thank you. Thank you very, very much for your support. And I'll catch you tomorrow with those lives. Thanks and good night.